Ron here from HEISTMAN'S Hit the Road. Welcome to our channel. Join us camping in Florida. In this video, we relocate to a new campsite in a familiar campground. We experience a maintenance issue with our water supply. We'll share some sights from our campsite, remedy a problem with our Starlink mounting, and restring another sunshade on our rig. Jackie and I are very happy you're here, eager to get things started, so let's buckle up and hit the road. Magic RV Resort. I went ahead and picked up the campsite. Here's my take. Somebody lost a really nice reflector. It's not even broken off the bicycle. And score, a button. All right, make campsites clean again. Mecca, MCCA. If we all do our part, we'll all have a better camping experience. Okay, we're safely at our next destination. We're back at TTO, 1000 Trails Orlando in Claremont. Be here for 21 nights.
We are having a great day at 1000 Trails Orlando in Claremont, Florida. To better assist you, please select from the following options. If you're calling to make or modify a reservation, press 1 or visit us online at 1000trails.com. For campground information such as directions, after hours info and more, press 2. To speak with an office team member, press 3. To speak with 1000 Trails.
Yes, hi. This is Ron Heisman in Tiki 54. And when we got here, the water wasn't working, and the neighbors said that they had just fixed it, and they needed time for the glue to dry. I'm wondering if they're going to be able to come back over and turn that on sometime so we can have water. So we're at 1000 Trails Orlando. We checked in right around 12 o'clock, and we're on site Tiki 54. And when we backed in, the neighbor next door said, hey, by the way, you don't have any water. The people that left today, they broke it pulling out, and they came and fixed it and they glued it, and they wanted time for the glue to dry, so they didn't turn the water back on. So okay, thanks for telling me. So here's the spigot. You can see the fresh glue. You can see there's no water, and the thing about it was you know, I basically did a basic setup here, and then I had to go over to Bushnell for an eye appointment. So I told Jackie, well, I won't hook it up till I get back. We have some water in the tank and stuff, but so if they come back and turn it on, well, you know, when I get home, I'll put the hose on it and everything. Well, I got back and we still don't have water. And I called up front, and the lady, you know, she said, well, okay, so, okay, he's here to turn it on now. Well, the guy's here and he just turned it on. It's spitting water, so I guess I'm gonna have to replace that plastic piece. So anyway, when I was talking to the lady up front, she said, I think I remember sending someone over there this morning. I go, yeah, when we got here, we wouldn't even have known the water was off had the neighbor next door not told us. Well, what happened was that piece they glued was still leaking. So he had brought this different style. The other one was a male, and it had, you know, an adapter on it. It had male to male fitting. So it was female both sides, the plastic fitting there. But you know, he came back with this anyway. So when he turned the water on, it was leaking. He shut it off, went over and got this and put it on there. So we should be good. Got water now. You know, the water turn off and on is right here, and I could have got a wrench and did it, but you know, I didn't want to be mad at me. You can see it right here. It sticks up. You put a wrench on that and just turn it, and that turns the water on and off. But that's really not my place, so I called over. So I'll get the water hooked up. I've already sanitized this nozzle. I'll get the hose on and let it flush for about a minute, and then I'll hook it up. All right, something I've been promising and talking about here. I put these eye bolts on the air conditioner. I removed the regular fasteners. I put these eye bolts up here so I can strap down Starlink. Now, 9 times out of 10, if I put it on the roof, I'm going to put it back here on this air conditioner. So I'm going to replace those eye bolts and these 2 front fasteners with some D-rings. And what I mean by D-rings are right here. So the eye bolts will come out, the D-rings will go in, and that way I don't lose as much height. They're probably at least 1.5 inches tall, and these might be, I don't know, 3/8, ½ inch at the most. So, you know, because you never know when you might need that height. Now, I've got them up front here too, and the front's higher than the back. Okay, so because of the way the roof kind of angles down towards the back there. Not only that, but we sit a little high on the truck, so I have one of these got bent, hit a branch. I think I straightened it out. The same branch that broke our vent cover there. I'll link that video in the description. So I'm going to do it up here as well. Now, this air conditioner, we had it added. We had it added when we had the roof replaced, 2002 into 2003. So over the winter there, we had the roof replaced. And they never, you know, drilled these out and put fasteners in the back. So I'm going to go ahead and do all that. You know, might not film that, but I'm definitely going to film the back one because that's the one I'm doing first. First thing I have to do is get Starlink off there. I don't know if I've ever showed you the way I do this, but it's nothing fancy really. I tie it down and it never moves. I took it down one time in real heavy winds because I was just nervous. But I don't think it would have moved even then. So it's not hard to do. It takes about 5 minutes to tie it down when I'm up here with this rope. I've thought about making custom straps and all that stuff, or using some ratchet straps and shortening them, but right now I'm sticking with a rope. Okay. Bought these at Lowe's, I think. No, I bought them online, as a matter of fact. I bought them through Amazon. Found them on Amazon. Had them shipped. Long-winded, but I had them, and I cranked them down to make them not so tall. These are stainless quarter 20 bolts, and they're just plated or black D-rings, metal D-rings. Of course, the air conditioner is running, so sorry about the noise. But it's almost 90 today. All right, so that just reduced the height of this, the overall height of this air conditioner. I'm more concerned about the front, and I'll do those next. But there's no sense filming that as well. So I want to bore you to death. I do that enough. So that's it. I can still mount it securely, and I've lost about 1.5 inches of height. So cool beans. We've got a traffic jam here because of that radiance down here. Trying to back in a sight. That Alpine just pulled around this Class A Venetian because he doesn't need to wait for that guy. Evidently, this Class A needs to wait for this guy to get out of the way. I don't know what he's doing. And we got another Class A that's waiting. Hey, everybody's got to learn, right? All right, rear window of our rig. I just took the blind down. It isn't working. All the strings are broken. Now, this has been modified. And if you watch the show, you may already know this. We had a valance on all the windows in the rig. But Jackie didn't like them, so I removed them. Okay, and then I just put a piece of plywood up here. Actually, I saved it from the top of the valances. So I saved this from the top of the valance. See if you can see it. That piece of wood right here, okay? And I had to cut it down and paint it and all of it, everything, and I just painted it to where it was going to be visible. And the blind, so the fabric blind or the accordion blind, 3 screws just mounts into the bottom of this board. Now, lucky enough to where I could screw this right up into the cabinet. Other ones in the rig, I didn't have that luxury. So it's mounted pretty well up there. I'm not worried about that. So, accordion blinds. You've heard me talk about it before. Like I said, I've fixed them before on film. I have some new Kevlar string. I'm not using the regular blind string anymore to replace them. This will be the first blind I repair using the Kevlar string. And after I purchased the string, I heard that some people are using monofilament fishing line, which makes a lot of sense too, rather than that fabric string where the outer fabric just kind of like wears through and bunches up and causes failures. So anyway, I'm gonna go out and fix that. So another task. There's always something to do when you're full-time in an RV, that's for sure. Got to pull these plugs out of the end of these. They just pop out. Gonna pry them. Don't lose anything. Now someone will stay on the strings if the string's still there. And this one stayed in the string. Good. They're all out. And then you slide that plastic thing off there, exposing all the inner workings. You know the top from the bottom with the holes coming through, the mounting holes. Same with this side. I don't know how much of this I'll actually narrate, because I might just fast forward through this kind of stuff, because I've kind of done it before, and it's, once you get into this, it's pretty self-explanatory. What happens is these strings got a set here and a set on each end. So a set here, set over here, and a set on each end. So this string connects to the bottom down here. Actually, let me slide this off as well. There it comes off. So it kind of routes through. They don't actually connect down here. They connect at the top. You can see these springs. There's one on each set. So that spring connects to the inside one here and goes down. And then that one goes that way. And it just goes out to the connection out the end. This connects to the wall under the blind with just via a screw. So with the way it's routed, you got to understand the way it's routed. So doing one at a time is not a bad idea. And you can see what happens to this stuff. That outer shell on the string, the cotton or whatever it's made of, nylon or whatever, it wears through and then just leaves the inner core of the string. And it just starts to bunch up and starts to screw up, and then they break and it's over. Line won't stay up. Okay, so you know, deciding which one to do first is the next step. Now this one actually totally failed. It's broken off right here. You have to understand where that was connected, so it probably went all the way out the end. You can see there's only one in there now. So that one goes that way, the other one goes that way. That one out the end. The other end of this broken string that comes down on that edge broke completely in half, and then went out the bottom there to go down to the wall connection. So, trying to keep all this stuff straight is very important. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the end one here, which connects to this spring. It runs up through and it weaves through the accordion blind, right? It goes all the way over and then down this one and out the end. That's the one I'm going to start with. I'm going to do a lot of cutting here. I'm going to use this pair of wire snippers to disconnect the string from the... I'm just going to tie these. These are metal clipped. Very good. Okay. So if you want to, when you cut these new strings, you want to leave them plenty long. It's better to be a mile long than an inch short. This is the one that was intact. So, and here's the buttons that connect to the wall. Okay. I'm going to take the strings right out of here. I'll probably cut that knot. They just got it knotted. And don't lose the buttons. Just put the buttons back together the way you found them. And do your best to keep it as organized as it takes so that you don't get messed up here. Okay? I'm going to pull this string completely out. I don't know if you saw that little piece of paper go flying. It's like cardboard. It just goes over the top of where the mount comes through to hold the string on that side of the paper. Goes over this, and you can see this little black plastic piece that comes through, and that's where the mounting screws go. I popped it out of there. I'm putting it back. So this is the string I'm going to replace first. I'm going to leave it plenty long, like I told you already 10 times. There's probably a much faster way to do this. It's not a how-to video, it's a video of how I do it and how I stay busy, out of trouble. Okay, this is that new Kevlar string. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to add on a good amount on one end. I'm going to go all the way down. Make sure we're the same length. Like I said, better to be a mile long than an inch short. If you don't believe me, cut one short. I'm going to go 2 extra feet here. Now this is Kevlar, so it should cut harder, and it already is cutting harder. These are wire cutters. Wow. Okay, we're gonna grab a utility knife, see if that helps. Okay, that helped. Don't let your spool unwind. So I've got this hair tie. Now I gotta fish this all the way through. Hopefully you can see it. If not, rest assured, I'm just gonna go up through the accordion blind. I'm gonna go up through that metal one in the bottom. Lay the blind out like it would be on the wall or on the window. I just fish this thing through. It's not as easy as you think it might be, and it's probably easier than I'm gonna make it look. Gotta cut a knot off the end here. The end of that string was knotted. So we're gonna go up and through. I had to switch glasses so I could see, but this, what I learned is this Kevlar string unravels pretty good, and I couldn't get it through the holes. And you can't heat it up and like you can nylon and kind of smoosh it, you know, and make it adhere together so it makes a point. So I just put a dab of super glue on the end of a fresh cut end, and we'll see if that works. Having a heck of a time fishing that string through the Kevlar. The other stuff was easier, but maybe that's why they used it. So I went in the house, and I happen to have a dental bridge, and these devices, they almost look like they're made of floss. So you put the floss through this loop, and then you could fish this end under the bridge, pull it through, and then I could floss under my bridge. I'm going to use this to see if it'll work. So I fished it through there. It's going to be a pain in the butt, but let me see if it'll work. Oh yeah. Just do some sewing here. It's like when you're sewing, you don't want to lose that thread. Like I said, keeps you out of trouble when you keep busy. And all I'm doing is retracing the steps where the old string ran. So it's very important that you take pictures, whatever you gotta do, mental note of some sort of how this was routed. Now a lot of people get rid of these blinds altogether. I'm not ready to do that yet. I kind of like the way they block the light. And there's probably better ways, but okay. So now I have to tie this end to the spring. And you want to tie it, you want to over knot it, because in other words, make a lot of knots. You do not want this thing coming apart. You have to pull the whole thing down again, take it all apart and fix it. That is not going to come apart, people. Okay. So that's that one. Now the other end is here, right? So I have to make that. I have to cut a string that length and longer. All right. The next piece to length, tied it to the spring. Okay, now I'm going to repeat the same thing over here and weave the string back through the accordion blind. Just had a visitor. Jake from PSRV There Yet was driving by, so he stopped. They're heading out tomorrow to Texas. Safe travels. Hoping that diesel prices will go down sometime here soon. They were down a little bit, but it sounds to me like Iran closed the strait again, so we'll see what happens. It is what it is, right? But looks like we might be staying in Florida at least through September, so because I have some dental work coming up, it looks like. So hopefully by the time we hit the road, it'll be over. Okay, so I fish that down through. We're gonna pull it tight. Want to center the spring down there, about in the middle of halfway between. So it comes in down there. The next string comes in here, so I'm gonna split the difference with the spring. Okay, and this ends up going out this side. Okay, there's two all done. Now we go to the next side. We go to this one. This spring. Okay, that just takes up shock, so when you're pulling the shade down, you're not pulling against a tight string, you know. The spring will, and keep it tight if this string should stretch. So we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna cut this string Looks like it's pretty easy to untie, really. This one's much tighter, so I'll cut it. There. There's the spring. So, getting the length of the next string. We'll get it cut. Looks like that was broken. So we're going to make sure we're putting long over here. It's probably way longer than it needs to be, but I'm not going to say it again. Alright. Here's the string. Here's the old POS string. I'm going to tie it to this end of the spring. 3 knots at a hole, 4 knots for sure. I'm going to thread this one same way. Put a little dab of super glue on this end, let it dry. Got it threaded to my floss threader. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I almost went in the wrong place. On this hole here. So we're going to go right down through the accordions just like the rest of them. I'm probably going to have to switch sides, so I've got it all fished through there. We'll pull it tight to the spring. The spring's halfway between here and the middle. And that's where we want it. And this one will go out this way. So I've already cut the next string. We're going to tie it on this side of the spring. Alright, that's tied on. There's a little ring around the sun today. Double rainbow, it looks like. Man, it goes all the way around. There and there. So now that it's tied on the spring there, put a little dab of super glue on here, like before. Something you should carry, I think, if you're going to be full-time RVing. I'm going to start sewing it down the other way. Should be able to see. If not, I'm sorry. It's so bright out here, can't even see the screen on the camera. I'm going to fish this through under this paper. Keep it on the right side of things, under this little piece of cardboard. And then we'll start fishing it down through the accordion. Accordion blinds probably aren't the right name for these things. I call them that because they kind of remind me of an accordion the way they work. But who am I? Just an old farmer. Okay. Almost there. Alright. Good. I'm going to pull it tight. Sorry I never had it recorded. I've put that bottom channel together and I've slid this plastic piece onto the top one. That's what I've done since. I thought I started the recording, but I evidently did not. So now I'm going to slide this plastic piece over the top or the bottom channel. Let's get it started. It feels pretty good. Usually. Okay. Both these channels have plugs, top and bottom. The bottom one has holes in the plug for the strings to come out. The top one, the strings don't come out, so the top ones are solid here. They snap right in the end of the plastic housing. But you have to run the strings out. Okay? So you have to run the strings through them. Hopefully I can do that without using my floss threader. It looks like I can. So you can see I run the string through them. And just snap them in the end. There. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to lay this out. Put the strings tight. Now I'd like to keep this together. I need room to get up with the screws to screw it in. So I think I'll put some strings and tie it there so it can't open up anymore. That should help with the installation. Now this will be the inside. I know that because I can access screw holes from this side. I'm going to cut that about that long. And the other side. So I have two of them that long. I'll make a shoelace knot and hopefully it won't come apart. It'll be easy to untie. Okay. Okay. Take it inside and mount it. After I get it up there and get it where I need it to be when it's down, I'll tie these buttons on with a strings mount. And then we'll screw them into hopefully the same holes they came out of. You can see that the blinds all hung on the window. It's working good. You can see where the strings connect to the button and the way the button is screwed to the wall down here. That's about how tight I have them. It's tight enough to keep them up, and if it isn't, you could take and just put another wind on the button or add a wind to the button. There's no winds on it now. Okay, if they're too loose, the blind will not stay up. Okay, and the strings were all broken on it prior to the repair, so it wouldn't stay up then. That's it, and as you can see, totally adjustable. Stays level across. Easy to close, easy to open. Cool beans, done deal. If you've enjoyed watching this video, please like and subscribe. And also, click on the bell icon. That way you'll be notified when new material hits our channel. From Rohn and Jacki at HEISTMAN'S Hit the Road, have a great day and thanks for watching.